I did not set it up, except when I noticed him going for the prime. The moment he took the prime out of the bag, I knew this was going to be the best video on the fucking planet.
Prime drink exploded onto the scene as the ultimate must-have for kids and teens, fueled by the star power of YouTubers Logan Paul and KSI. But behind the hype, controversies soon emerged, leaving many wondering, has Prime's moment in the spotlight already fizzled out? Before we get into this video, why don't you take a second to subscribe to our channel and like this video?
Holy shit, we started a beverage company, a hydration drink called Prime Hydration. We are going to rival the biggest brands in the world, Gatorade, Powerade, Pepsi, Coke.
To really understand how Prime came to be, we've got to go back a few years to one of the most talked about rivalries on the internet, Logan Paul versus KSI. Now, if you were even remotely active on YouTube back in 2018, you probably remember the buzz around these two. KSI, the UK's biggest YouTuber, had just won his first boxing match against fellow YouTuber Joe Weller. And instead of sitting back and enjoying the win, KSI decided to call out none other than Logan Paul. It was wild. He stood in the ring and said, "Logan Paul, any of the Pauls, I don't care." And Logan, who had just gone through the whole controversy of filming a dead body in Japan's Aokigahara forest, saw this as his shot at redemption.
Logan Paul bragged about how he knocked out almost all of his sparring partners.
People went nuts. Whether you were a Logan Paul fan who wanted to see him redeem himself, or you just wanted to see him get punched in the face, there was something for everyone. This fight was a massive deal, pulling in millions of viewers, and it set the stage for their second match a year later. The first fight ended in a draw, leaving everyone wanting more, so they spent another year hyping up the rematch. Eventually, KSI won the second fight, and while it might have seemed like the end of their rivalry, it was actually the beginning of something much bigger.
There was a time where you and I were beating the fucking shit out of each other.
Yes.
In front of tens of thousands of people, live.
Yes.
Twice.
Millions of people.
2 different times.
Fast forward to 2021, and you'd probably never expect what came next. KSI went on Logan Paul's podcast, and the two officially buried the hatchets. It wasn't fake beef, they really didn't like each other before, but now they were friends. And Logan even admitted that KSI had saved his career, which is kind of true. Their feud had kept Logan in the spotlight during a pretty dark time in his life, and it gave him a chance to redeem himself in the eyes of his fans.
We have created our own drink company. Yes!
Ladies and gentlemen, Prime Hydration. We are officially business partners. We are no longer rivals.
Then came the bombshell. In 2022, Logan Paul and KSI went on Instagram Live together and announced something no one saw coming, a sports drink called Prime. It was wild seeing these two, once bitter enemies, now business partners. But it made sense. Logan had a massive following in the US, especially among young kids and teens, while KSI had an equally huge fan base in the UK. Together, their influence was unbeatable, and they knew exactly how to market to their audience.
So to bring you up to speed, it's these guys again. YouTubers Logan Paul and KSI, the international duo who sent Channel 9 into meltdown.
When Prime launched, it was the perfect storm of timing and marketing. Logan Paul and KSI knew exactly what they were doing. By early 2022, both of these internet giants had massive followings, especially among young kids and teenagers. These were the same kids glued to YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, constantly following their favorite influencers. Logan and KSI had the fan base, and Prime was their golden ticket. The drink didn't just hit the market, it exploded onto the scene. In the US, Prime was an instant hit. People were snatching up bottles left and right, and it wasn't long before store shelves were empty. The moment Prime touched the UK market, things went to a whole new level. Since KSI's fan base is massive in the UK, the demand there was even crazier. The drink sold out instantly, and it became almost impossible to find a bottle. You had people hoarding them, and it didn't take long before resale prices started going through the roof. People were paying insane amounts on platforms like eBay, with bottles being sold for $10, sometimes even 100 times their original price. Can you imagine paying over $100 for a drink? What's even wilder is how quickly Prime became a status symbol, especially among kids. If you had a bottle of Prime, you weren't just hydrated, you were cool. It became something kids would show off at school, collecting different flavors, like they were limited edition action figures. Some even took empty bottles, filled them up with water, and kept drinking out of them just to look cool. It was all about the appearance. At first, it seemed like nothing could stop Prime. The drink was flying off shelves, and both Logan Paul and KSI were riding the wave of success. But then, things took a turn, and the excitement around Prime quickly shifted to controversy, especially when they launched Prime Energy.
That I can't say, brother.
But I think we know what it is.
But maybe you could say.
Maybe you could say.
Gatorade Gatorade.
Yeah, I think it's Pepsi.
Coca-Cola, Pepsi. Now here's the question.
Who knows?
Here's the question.
Prime Energy was supposed to be the next big thing in the Prime lineup, but instead of just being a fun hydration drink, it packed a serious punch with 200 milligrams of caffeine per can. Now, that might not seem like a big deal if you're an adult who's used to knocking back energy drinks or coffee, but the problem was that Prime's main audience wasn't adults. It was kids and teenagers, and that's where the trouble started. The caffeine content in Prime Energy raised a lot of eyebrows, especially among parents and schools. Kids were buying and drinking it like it was just another fun, fruity hydration drink, not realizing the massive amount of caffeine they were consuming. Imagine being a 12-year-old downing 200 milligrams of caffeine in one go. That's double what's recommended for teenagers, and way more than what's considered safe for younger kids. It didn't take long before parents and health experts started speaking out, warning that Prime Energy was potentially dangerous for children. The backlash was immediate. Schools that were already dealing with the chaos of kids reselling and hoarding Prime hydration drinks were now facing a new problem: Prime Energy. Some schools banned the drink entirely, and parents were furious. Stories started popping up about kids having severe reactions to the high caffeine content, with some even ending up in the hospital after drinking too much. There was one case in particular that made headlines: a child who had to be hospitalized due to a cardiac episode caused by Prime Energy. It was a wake-up call for a lot of people.
But unlike Red Bull, it is specifically targeted. The advertising campaign is targeted at kids under 18.
Things got even more serious when the US government stepped in. Senator Chuck Schumer publicly called for the FDA to investigate the caffeine levels in Prime Energy, especially given how it was being marketed to kids. The fact that the cans looked almost identical to the hydration bottles made it even more confusing, with many people not realizing they were drinking something loaded with caffeine. Logan Paul is no stranger to controversy, and his personal issues have certainly spilled over into the Prime brand. While Prime was taking off, Logan found himself tangled in multiple scandals, particularly around cryptocurrency. You might have heard about his involvement in various crypto projects, like Dink Doink and the infamous CryptoZoo. Both of these ventures were labeled as scams, and many of Logan's fans ended up losing money because they trusted him. CryptoZoo, for example, was supposed to be this big NFT-based game where people could buy and trade digital animals, but the whole thing turned out to be a disaster. Logan hyped it up, but the game never actually worked, leaving his fans, many of whom had invested thousands of dollars, feeling completely betrayed. Logan promised to refund some of the money, but only a small fraction of what people lost, which made things even worse. It wasn't just about losing money. People started seeing Logan as an unreliable, even shady figure. This type of controversy doesn't just hurt Logan, it hurts anything he's involved in, including Prime. When you've got a reputation for scamming your own fans, it's hard for people to trust you with anything, even a drink. And with Logan's name so closely tied to Prime, these scandals started casting a shadow over the brand. People began to wonder if Prime was just another one of Logan's schemes, something hyped up for a quick buck rather than a legitimate product. KSI, on the other hand, has managed to stay relatively controversy-free. While Logan has been dealing with the fallout from his crypto projects, KSI has been keeping his head down and focusing on his music and YouTube career. Because of this, many people see KSI as the cleaner half of the Prime partnership. Some fans even believe that if KSI wasn't involved, Prime might have completely collapsed under the weight of Logan's controversies. KSI's credibility has become a lifeline for Prime, but the question remains, can he salvage the brand's reputation on his own? So, what are your thoughts on this? Let us know in the comments below.